Today, we're diving into one of the most exciting and high-stakes challenges in the entire hospitality industry, building a world-class hotel team from the ground up, long before a single guest ever walks through the door. This is the pre-opening playbook. Hello and welcome. I am a hotel AI expert with extensive experience in modern hospitality operations and performance support. I am pleased to welcome all students of Europe Hotel School to your online learning journey. You know, opening a new hotel is one of the most complex and thrilling projects in our field. It's so much more than just construction and interior design. It's about crafting an entire human experience from scratch. And that, of course, begins with people. So let's start with the big question, right? How do you take a brand new, totally empty building and breathe life into it? How do you give it a soul? Well, the answer isn't found in the expensive marble or the fancy chandeliers. It's all about the team you build. Let's break down exactly how that's done. You have to understand that this pre-opening phase, it's probably the single most defining moment for your hotel's culture. And the hiring process isn't just one big event. No, it's actually split into two completely different but equally critical streams of recruitment. So, on one side, you have your executive team, your XCOM. Think of them as the strategic architects. They're hired way in advance, sometimes a year and a half out, through a really careful, high-touch process. Then, on the other side, you have mass recruitment. This is for the operational backbone of the hotel, and it's a huge, high-volume campaign to hire hundreds of people just a few months before you open. They're two totally different worlds, but they're working towards the exact same goal. All right, let's start with those architects. When you're selecting the executive committee, you're not just filling jobs. You are literally securing the leadership team that will build the hotel's identity and its entire future right from the ground up. And this timeline really shows you what a long game this is. The search for the general manager? That kicks off a full 18 months before opening. That hire is the absolute cornerstone. Next up, the director of HR comes on board to build out the entire people strategy. And then, about 9 months out, the department heads join, and they start building their own teams. It's this incredibly carefully orchestrated sequence. Now, it's absolutely crucial to understand that the GM role in a pre-opening is unique. This isn't about managing a hotel that's already running. It's about creating one from nothing. So your GM has to be a master operator, a financial wizard, a diplomat who can manage owner expectations, and most importantly, the #1 champion for the culture you're trying to build. And that's exactly why the interviews are so different. For the executive team, you're not asking, can you check a guest in? No way. You're diving deep into their leadership philosophy, their strategic vision. You're testing them for resilience, for adaptability, making sure they're a perfect cultural fit. It's all about how they think, not just what they can do. So how do you find these rare individuals? Well, you use some pretty sophisticated tools, things like Hogan or DISC personality assessments, to really get a sense of their resilience. You might throw them a complex case study, say a major construction delay, just to see how they think on their feet. You're really digging for leaders who actually thrive in chaos and aren't afraid to roll up their sleeves and get their hands dirty. Okay, so once that leadership team is in place, the focus does a complete 180. Now you're facing the next massive challenge, hiring everybody else. And let me tell you, this is not just about posting a few jobs online. This is a full-blown, high-energy campaign designed to attract hundreds of future hospitality stars. To pull this off, you've got to be firing on all cylinders. You need a powerful digital presence, a great careers website, active social media that really sells your vision. You've got to build strategic partnerships with hotel schools to create a steady talent pipeline. You definitely want to leverage your first hires with a strong referral program. And of course, you have to engage with the local community to position yourself as an amazing place to work. And here's the key takeaway, really. From day one, I'm talking before you even have a physical front door people can walk through. You have to act like an employer of choice. Your reputation as a great place to work begins long before your reputation as a great hotel. Okay, but just think about the logistics for a second. You might get thousands of applications for just a few hundred roles. There's just no way you can interview everyone one-on-one. So the whole process has to be streamlined for speed and scale. But, and this is the important part, without ever sacrificing the quality of the people you hire. So you do this using a multi-stage funnel. It starts with an applicant tracking system, or an ATS, that filters all the initial resumes. The best of those candidates then get invited to these large group assessment centers. In these sessions, they'll see a presentation about the brand, they'll participate in group exercises that show us how they work in a team, and they'll even do some role-playing to test their service instincts. Only the absolute top performers from those stages will move on to a final interview. And all of this, it really brings us to what I believe is the single most important philosophy in this entire process. This is the guiding principle, the North Star, for building a truly world-class service culture. It's this simple phrase: hire for attitude, train for skill. That's the mantra. Think about it. You can teach a person how to use a property management system. You can teach them any technical task, but you cannot teach them to have genuine warmth, real passion, or true empathy. You see, what you're really looking for is something we call service orientation. It's that natural, built-in desire to help people, that genuine warmth and proactive spirit. It is the absolute core of hospitality. And here's the thing. You can learn to spot it, you can identify it, but you absolutely cannot teach it. It has to be there already. And that's exactly why you have to train your department heads to be expert recruiters. They have to know how to get past the resume and ask really good behavioral questions. Questions like, tell me about a time when, because those are the questions that reveal a candidate's true attitude and their problem-solving instincts, not just the answers they've rehearsed. All right, so you've done the hard work, you've found these amazing, high-attitude individuals. Now what? Well, the race is officially on to secure them for your team. This final phase is all about managing the job offer and making sure that talent actually walks through the door on the first day of training. A winning offer really boils down to 4 key things. First, it has to be competitive. Your salary and benefits need to be in line with the market. Second, it's got to be transparent, no surprises. Third, it should be comprehensive. Detail all the great perks that matter, like staff meals or gym access. And finally, and this is so critical, it has to be swift. Top talent always has other options, so you just can't afford to let them wait. And this brings me to a really critical piece of operational wisdom. You must always plan for a buffer. It's just a fact that a certain percentage of candidates will turn down your offer or honestly just not show up on the first day. That's why you always overhire by about 10 to 15%. That's your insurance policy to make sure you have the full team you need when you open those doors. And that's the whole journey. It's a high-octane, incredibly intense operation, there's no doubt about it, but it's also the magical moment where an organizational chart on a piece of paper finally transforms into a living, breathing team that's ready to create unforgettable experiences for your guests. So I'll leave you with this to think about. As a future leader in this industry, if you could only hire for one single cultural value, whether it's resilience, empathy, or pure creativity, what would it be and why? Because that one choice you make, well, it's going to define everything that follows.